How's it going, everyone? Yosef back here with another video, and I hope you're having an amazing week so far. Today we have the all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan. This is the refresh version and I can't wait to show it to you. But before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, my name is Yosef. I happen to be a car enthusiast with 3 kids and I used to sell cars in the past. So if you're interested in my perspective, please subscribe. All right, now on with the video. Huge shout out to VW Volkswagen for lending us this beautiful Tiguan that we can take a look at. If you're in the GTA looking for a Volkswagen, go check out VW Volkswagen. Go ask for Vincent or Daniel. They will absolutely hook you up. I truly appreciate it. So massive shout out to you. So let's take a look at the Tiguan. Now the Tiguan is one of Volkswagen's most popular vehicles, and rightfully so. It's big, it's practical, it's a 5-seater compact SUV, and in a world where there are so many different options, you have to stand out. You've got to do something fresh. And so Volkswagen realized it was time to modernize and bring the Tiguan to the next level. The previous generation looked really great in my opinion, but this is now fitting a lot more closely with Volkswagen's new styling design language. So it looks great, it looks modern, but it's lost some of its, I think, aggressive edge that it had before. That being said, there are some really cool styling features that are part of this new generation that I'll point out. For starters, the whole profile of the Tiguan has changed a bit since the previous generation. You'll notice that you've got this blacked out roof that's part of this package, and the black going around the surrounds for the wheels. Instead of having just cheap black plastic, this is now a gloss black plastic, which actually looks a lot better. And depending on which trim you get, that will change. The front is completely new as well. You've got this enormous grille at the bottom, and you've got some functional air vents as well. Check out these side curtain vents. They look so cool. You can see right through them and remind me of my Golf R. And I bet you didn't expect that you'd have functional aero on a Tiguan, but you do. This lower grille has these flaps that open and close, depending on the speed you're going. The headlights are also all new and look really cool, especially with their daytime running lights that run into that light bar. And because this is an R line, you've got those really cool R badges over here, and here, and here, if you get the high line with the R line. The back of the Tiguan also looks really cool, and you've got some unique styling back there with that lower grille and the rear taillights. But the funny thing is, depending on which trim you have, you actually get a different set of taillights in the back. So this is the one that you get on sort of the lower trim levels, and this is how the taillights look on the high line, which look really cool and very European. The only thing that I'm not really a fan of is just the black plastic over there as the lower grille. It would have been nice to have a functional diffuser or get to see the exhaust because, well, this has an R badge on it. R means sporty and cool, and sporty and cool means exhaust and diffusers and stuff like that. And unfortunately, we don't have that with the Tiguan R. So let's talk about what's powering the Tiguan. Well, you've got the same 4-cylinder, 2-liter turbocharged engine that's connected to an all-wheel drive system with an 8-speed automatic transmission. And this engine puts out about 201 horsepower and around 220 foot-pounds of torque, which is not a huge number, and we'll get to that when we go for our drive, but it seems to be enough, and that's sort of a continuation of what they've had before. This ultimately is the same engine that we've got on the GTI and the Golf R. It would have been nice for them to give us a more performance-oriented version of it, like in the GTI or the Golf R, so that we get a more performance-y type version of the Tiguan, but apparently that's coming from 2026. So if you want the added performance, you might want to wait till next year. Moving to the inside of the Tiguan Comfort Line Black Edition, you'll notice that we're greeted with a really nice interior and door card. I love this new piece that they put in here, this insert, because it's backlit. There's some ambient lighting in there, which changes with the colors that you choose, which looks really cool. We've got this really nice sort of Alcantara type feeling material over here with the stitching, and you've got some cool colors to choose from, regardless of which trim you have, which I really love. Everything's very soft touch, some beautiful stitching. All the switchgear feels really tight and really nice, very premium. And I like that we've got this metal speaker grate over here, even though this isn't the premium audio system. So that's something that adds a lot of luxuriousness to the interior feel. I do wish though we had the felt lining in here. It's just open, so things are going to rattle around, unfortunately. But other than that, when we take a look at the seats of the new Tiguan, they are absolutely beautiful and they're really nicely done. The leather is super soft. They have all this perforation in here and details with the contours, and these aren't even the most premium seats. If you go for the high line with the R-Line package, you get some really nice diamond quilting, which I'll show you. This one though is sort of the mid trim with the cool package, and they've done a really nice job. They haven't cheapened out on this stuff. It looks very nice and premium, and they are super comfortable to sit in. You'll notice that we've got our power adjustments over here. We don't have the memory seats, unfortunately. That is something that you only get on the Highline, and we don't have the massage seat function, which you would have found right over there. That'll come with the higher package. But other than that, the interior looks really nice. You've got this beautiful chunky Volkswagen sort of sporty steering wheel. It's the same steering wheel that we've got on the Golf GTI. You're missing sort of an R logo over there, but I love that we still have the flat bottom steering wheel. Now, sitting behind the wheel of this new Tiguan, you'll notice that there are a few things that are very different from the previous generation. Number one, this entire sort of front console area is brand new. It's a new design. It looks very cool, very fresh. I love what they've done with this metallic plastic over here. It would have been nice for that to be metal, but I understand you can't go that far in a car at this price point. Even though it looks really nice, this trim, it does feel a little flimsy depending on where you poke at it. And that's something that I'm worried over time might get ruined, because that continues over here. Doesn't look like that's screwed in really well. You've got an all new display. Everything looks like it's integrated really well. It's not just a stuck on screen. I think it looks great with the overall dynamics of the look of this car. And you'll notice that we've got new switchgear over here. This is basically taken out of the ID4. Now, instead of using a shifter column or a button, you've got the gear shift over here to change into gear, which is a very logical place to put it. You just twist it to go into drive, neutral or reverse, and you press the end of it to go into park. And the turn signal now has all of the wiper functions over here with your high beams. Everything's integrated into one little stock, which is kind of cool, but it's a little bit of cheap plastic back here. Other than that, the build quality in here generally is very good, and everything feels rock solid apart from that plastic trim over there and the steering wheel stocks. Other than that, the screens themselves look amazing. That's one thing that Volkswagen has been doing an exceptional job when it comes to getting you the highest quality screens for your money. And the great thing about it is they're so configurable. You know, if you go into a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V or some of the other competitors out there, they give you the digital screens, but the quality of them just isn't up to par with what you get from Volkswagen, and you can't configure all the stuff that you've got in these squares and really take advantage of the real estate that we've got here. That's one thing that I think Volkswagen does probably better than any other manufacturer in the mainstream vehicle market. And generally speaking, the quality of the screen, the pixels, the sharpness and black levels are amazing. In this particular trim, we don't get the heads-up display, but if you go for the Highline with the R-Line package, that is something that you get, and again would be a welcome addition for all of the trim levels. But again, we can't be greedy. If we take a look at the big infotainment screen just to the right of the steering wheel, you'll notice that we've got this 12.9-inch display. This is the same exact display that we've got in the Golf GTI and Golf R. But if we move up a trim level and go to the Highline, you then get a 15-inch display, which is even bigger and maybe a bit more obnoxious. This one I think suits it really nicely, so that's not a plus to me to move up to the higher trim. But this new infotainment system is really good. It's not laggy, it functions very well. You've got a lot of great options here if you want to put some shortcuts, make it configurable for yourself, and generally speaking, it is very easy to use. It's a big upgrade from the previous generation, and I find that it's a lot more intuitive. I also like the fact that we've got now backlit sliders over here. I mentioned it in my GTI and Golf R videos that, you know, this is a lot easier to use than the previous generation. It's very nice that we have this, although I would have preferred obviously having physical buttons for the climate controls and things like that. It is the way of the future, and I understand that, so we'll deal with what we've got. But generally speaking, very simple to use. If you hit the climate button, you get the full menu, and I love the graphics that we've got over here. They just look really, really cool, and it changes depending on where you've got the air coming from. So I think they've done a nice job integrating it. And it's nice that we've got these shortcuts over here. That's something that's really important. If you are integrating the climate controls into the screen, at least have dedicated buttons here so it's easy to get to. And you'll notice that we've got ventilated and heated seats over here. We don't have the massage function as I mentioned, but it is really nice that we've got 3-stage heat and ventilation for the front seats. One thing that you may not know is In the previous generation of the Golf Rs and GTIs and previous versions of this screen, there was always a shortcut for turning on the heated seats, and we haven't lost that over here. If you double tap with your fingers, you can turn on the heated seats quickly on and off, so you don't have to go into the menus or do anything complicated for it. Other than that, the screen itself is very nice. Again, super high quality. It works really well for this specific use case here. And if we put ourselves in reverse, you'll notice that we've got a backup camera over here. It's not a 360 one, although I believe for the Highline, I'll take a look at that when we get back to the dealership, should have a 360 camera. Here is just a regular one with all the parking sensors. I will say that the image quality of this backup camera is not fantastic. I would have preferred it to be a little bit better, especially for a new version of a car, but you do have the trajectory lines, which is really nice, and it takes up a lot of the real estate here, so it's quite a big screen. Outside of that, you'll notice that up here we've got the same really nice kind of touch console that we've got in the GTI and the Golf R, and the rimless rear view mirror. Everything is touch. It looks really cool, and you can turn on and off the dome lights just like that, or you can press and hold and make sure that you've got the dome lights set to the specific brightness that you might want. And you've got a power sunshade and panoramic sunroof over here. Again, everything is power operated, so all you have to do is just swipe your finger across and you've got that power sunshade that will come close. And the same thing will happen if you want to open the sunroof, which is really nice. That if we move down to the center console area over here, we've got two proper sized cup holders. You've got a nice spot over here to put your key or any other stuff. And what's really exciting is we've got this new knob. This knob allows you to change and play with the volume. And something that Volkswagen's done for many, many years is generally with the screen, when you put your hand closer to it, you get different settings. So over here, what they've done is you've got a volume knob, but if you press it, it actually gives you a selector for the different drive modes. So instead of having to go into the system, you can play with it from this knob, and that makes it really easy to shift between snow mode or comfort or sport or custom mode, and then go back quickly to your volume knob. And it looks really cool. It's very satisfying to play with. It clicks really nicely, and it's backlit, so it's going to look really cool at night. And of course, we've got a new engine stop start button over there and your emergency brake. There's nothing else really going on here. It's very clean. I like the fact that it's matte instead of gloss black plastic. It's not going to scratch up tremendously bad, and I think it looks really modern. It would be nice if we had something that would cover this up, a little rolling tray or something like that, but otherwise it is a really nice section over here. If we take a look a little further back, you'll notice that we've got a really deep center storage area back here. Again, this isn't covered by any stretch, but it is really nice that we've got a lot of storage here. You've got some USB ports, USB Type-C, and you've got your wireless charger over here. So you stick your phone in there, it'll clip in so that it won't move around, and this way it'll be charging standing up, which is an interesting thing. I also like that we've got these sort of lines back here, so it helps with the cooling, so you don't have to worry about your phone overheating too much. But the pièce de résistance for Volkswagen is always having this really fun armrest. It can bring itself forward and backwards. You can also adjust it up and down. It ratchets, so it's something that allows you to get very, very comfortable as you're driving along. And I know a lot of times people say, well, the only reason why they don't put these in other cars is because it blocks the cup holders and stuff like that. Well, for those people, Volkswagen's figured it out. You've got cup holders over there that are not interfered by this, so this is the way to go. Every auto manufacturer should be doing this. It's so much better in terms of comfort. Generally speaking, I really like the new interior. I think it looks very modern and fresh. It's styled nicely. You've got a lot of great materials there, and overall visually it's very appealing. And I'm just going to show you in contrast what it looks like with the higher trim level. Because when you get the Highline, you get that wood, the real wood insert over there instead of that plastic, and I gotta say, it's actually screwed in so much better. It feels really solid, so it kind of removes having that really annoying plasticky feeling from the other piece that was in there. So it seems there are some definite improvements here in terms of quality going up to the higher trim level. Moving to the backseat area of the Tiguan, you'll notice that we're greeted with a very similarly looking door card. Also very nice with this insert over here. We've got the same kind of suede Alcantara material back here and metal speaker grate. We've got that stitching, and you've got the really nice physical buttons over there for the windows. The one thing we don't have is a sunshade back here, and you may notice that we don't have any reclining features for the back seats, which would have been really nice. I know the RAV4 has done that for many years, and it would be great to have that in a vehicle of this size so that you don't have to sit so upright. But other than that, it is a really nice interior. We've got the same beautiful leather that carries forward from the front, the same perforation. A lot of vehicle manufacturers take out the perforation for the black seats, but in this case, Volkswagen has kept it, which is a really nice feature. It's not a sign of cost cutting or anything. They really want to pamper your back seat occupants. And if you've got car seats, it's really easy to go and find the anchor points back here because you've got this plastic cover and you won't lose it because it just flips up. So that is a really great feature for parents that have kids. You may notice also getting in here, there's a lot of room. I've got the seat basically where I would sit. It's leaning back a little bit more just for the video when I was making it, but you'll see there's a tremendous amount of legroom back here. And the front seat is mounted really high, even though it's in its lowest setting. So your feet won't be cramped under there, which is really nice for the kids in the back. And if we take a look back here, you'll notice that we also have some climate vents on the Highline trim. We also have a separate climate zone that we don't get in here, but it is nice that we still get the climate vents so that everyone gets some air circulation. And of course, we've got the USB Type-C charge ports down there as well. Generally speaking, if we zoom out and we take a look at the interior of the new Tiguan, it's very spacious, it's very nice, and I love the fact that we've got two-tone materials in here. Most of the manufacturers aren't giving you such a nice looking interior for the money, and to be honest, for $46,000 and change in Canadian dollars, you're getting a lot of car for the price. Moving to the cargo area of the Tiguan, of course, we've got a power operated tailgate. It would have been really nice though to have the Volkswagen badge flip up so that we can use it like we have it in the Golf R and GTI, but unfortunately that was taken away for the Tiguan a few years ago. But taking a look at the back cargo area here, we've got a lot of room. There's some really nice deep cubbies back here and some other little storage parts that you can throw some small things in so you don't have to worry about them rattling around. And generally, this is a very large trunk. There is so much room back here. You can fit a ton in here. So if you've got a young family with strollers and things like that, you've got a lot of areas to put stuff. The one thing that I'm going to mention that I would have preferred to have here is we don't have a split section over here that we can fold down to put larger items. We don't have that pass through. It's something that we have on the Golf GTI and Golf R. I wish they would have had it here. It would have made it that much more practical, but we do have something that I wish was on more cars, which is this little lever that allows us to fold down the back seat. So if we pull that, you'll notice that the seats fold down, and that makes it a lot easier. So if you're carrying a lot of stuff, or you're going to Home Depot and you buy a bunch of stuff and you don't want to have to go put everything down, all you have to do is pull that lever, it'll fold the seat down, and away you go. That's something that most of the manufacturers need to learn from Volkswagen. And if we take a look up here, you'll notice that we've got one single button for closing the trunk, the tailgate. We don't have that button that allows you to close and lock, which I would have preferred, but in this case, we just have that single button. All right, so let's go for our drive. Now, before I tell you about the driving experience, I want to cover the different trim levels and pricing because I think that's really important. We've been bouncing around between the two different trims throughout the video. So the way this works is the Tiguan starts with the Trendline all-wheel drive. I love that Volkswagen gives you all-wheel drive across all of the different trims, so you don't have to worry about that. Most of the manufacturers start off with giving you just front-wheel drive, and then you got to choose if you go up a trim to pay for the all-wheel drive. So the Trendline base model with all-wheel drive starts at $39,331 Canadian. And if you move up to the next trim level, you've got the Comfort line, also all-wheel drive, still gives you the basic infotainment system, no leather seats. That price is at $42,831 Canadian. The one that we're driving right now is the Comfort line R-Line Black Edition all-wheel drive model. It's a handful to say, but it starts at $46,331, and I think it's the sweet spot because this gives you the 20-inch wheels, so it gives you the nicer look on the outside. You've got the panoramic sunroof, you've got the heated seats and the multifunction steering wheel and all those great things, all the R logos around, and you get the leather seats, which I really like. So that's probably the one that most people are going to buy, but there's also the R-Line Highline that we talked about and had sort of contrasted with. That one goes for $50,331. And for those extra $4,000, basically you're getting a premium sound system, the obviously bigger touchscreen, and you're getting ventilated massage seats in the front and heated seats in the back with your own climate zone back there as well. And you're also getting that quilted leather seat, so it's not just basic leather. So that's something that, again, you have to decide, is it worth it for you or not? But generally speaking, this is very much in line with Mazda's CX-50. The pricing is almost identical, and a lot of the competitors fall within that, we'll call it $36,000 to $50,000 range. Okay, so let's talk driving experience. Now, driving the Tiguan is a very easy thing to do. It's a nice car to drive. However, that being said, it is slow. That 200 horsepower, in my opinion, is just not enough to really get a good feel of control and power for passing and, really enjoying the drive. It would totally benefit from having a GTI engine in here, having that extra power. And the good news is that that is probably coming from what I've heard. But to put this into perspective, all the competitors are around the same horsepower numbers. So knowing that it does work well when you're driving in the city, it just doesn't give you that big surge of power. And the throttle response is a little delayed right at the get-go. I don't know if that's the turbo lag, but it is very smooth once you get going, and the brakes are phenomenal. I think the steering is also really great for what it is. The steering is really quick. It's also very light, and you can get a little bit of weight in there if you want going into the sport mode. And the suspension is really compliant. It's soft and it's great for city driving without being too harsh or too wallowy. Overall, it's a great driving experience. I just feel like it would benefit from having a little bit more power. Now, this is the middle trim, which is actually really nice because usually for the middle trim, you don't get all the really cool stuff, but you get two-tone leather seats here. You get a lot of the luxury features that you would expect. You just don't get the massage seats that come on the Highline. Although, sitting in here, I think this is probably going to be the trim that most people are going to want to buy. Tiguan, for those of you who have driven one in the past, have always been really nice driving cars. They're not the quickest, they're not the sportiest, but they do the job really, really well. They're very quiet, they're very comfortable. The seats are exceptionally comfortable, and you've got a lot of space in here. It's always been one of the class leading in terms of space, and that's something that continues on for this generation. And it's really nice because you've got great visibility, it looks really nice on the outside, and you've got all the tech that you probably ever need in the car. And there's something really awesome about the way that Volkswagens drive. They're just very solid, and I love that we've got this new steering wheel with the physical buttons. That's something that's been a huge complaint for a lot of people, and the fact that they've carried it forward on the new Tiguan, I think is really, really important. Now, this one has a slightly smaller display, which, to be honest with you, I don't think is a drawback. Sometimes having too big of a display is a little distracting, and in this car, it actually fits and suits it really, really well. The only thing you're really not getting in here is the massage seats and the wood inlays on the dashboard, but otherwise, you pretty much have everything, and you're missing out on the heads-up display. But those are small details. Otherwise, it's a really nicely appointed vehicle. So here's the question: should you buy one? And this is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit because I love the Tiguan. I think it's a great value proposition. You've got a lot of features in here. It's very comfortable. It does all the family duty stuff really nice, and then some. But here's the challenge with the Tiguan. Most of the other manufacturers out there for the rivals in this space are giving you a hybrid. And I think, even though I love this car and I would probably buy it if I were looking to buy a car in this segment, I don't think everybody thinks the same way that I do. I think a lot of people are going to want a hybrid option so that if they're doing the city duties, driving their kids around to school and doing the grocery runs and all of that stuff, they're going to want the most fuel efficient car. And that is probably the biggest challenge with Volkswagen right now, is that we don't have a hybrid option for the Tiguan. We've got all these great luxury features, and I think a lot of people are going to love that, but I don't know if they're going to be willing to trade those luxury features for the higher fuel economy. So that's a question that I think a lot of people need to think about as they're shopping, but this is a very crowded market. There are so many options in the compact SUV space that it's hard to choose. But that being said, I think each of the manufacturers has their own unique niche. This is probably most closely compared to probably the Mazda CX-50, not the hybrid, but the regular turbo version. The power is relatively similar, the space is relatively similar. You've got a lot of luxury features like you would have in the Mazda CX-50, and if it were my money, I would choose this over the CX-50 for one very important reason, and that is comfort. The seats in the Tiguan are just amazingly comfortable, and way more so than that of the CX-50, even though the CX-50 also looks really great, is very stylish, and has a lot of luxury features. And if you're buying a car for the day-to-day use, you know, that's something that's really important and will probably factor into your decision. So other than that, if you wanted the most fuel efficient car, I think the Honda CR-V Hybrid is probably the best option. If you want the absolute cheapest car that you can get in this segment, I think the Kia Sportage is probably the way to go. Honestly, the Nissan Rogue, not super interesting. And some of the other options, they just kind of fall by the wayside. Though that leaves you really with this. If you want the most luxurious vehicle in this space, this is absolutely the one to get. There is no question in my mind that it gives you way more than what you'd expect paying at this price point for a vehicle of this size. So that's sort of my opinion. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree with me or not. But I really do believe the Tiguan, especially this new generation, offers a lot. It really punches above its weight class in terms of the comfort, in terms of the quality of materials, the way that it looks, the way that it drives, and it does a lot really, really well. In my opinion, it's probably the best all-rounder, except for that one detail, which is the fuel economy. But otherwise, I think this is a car that anybody could get into, drive really easily, get along with very well, and find it to be a great daily driver. The steering is nice, it's not too heavy, it's very light, but you've got the sport mode if you wanted to, you know, beef things up a little bit. You also have great visibility, you've got a lot of mirror space. It's an easy car to drive. And so for that, I would definitely choose this one if I were in the market for it, but I'll leave that decision up to you. Let me know what you think. If you found this video helpful, thank you so much for taking the time to watch it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.